Distance does not erase encounters. Sometimes it clarifies them. Lin Fang returned to the United States. Her life resumed its familiar, orderly rhythm. But beneath the surface, something remained unfinished. A question lingered in the quiet spaces between her obligations. Back in her American life, Lin Fang moved with the efficiency she had always prided herself on. Work first. Emotion later. Morning light filled her apartment as she opened her laptop. A cascade of emails waited. Meetings began one after another, a procession of digital faces and defined objectives. She was good at this. She knew the language, the expectations, the precise geometry of corporate success. Her world was a series of well-defined problems and their logical solutions. Then, an offer arrived that seemed to fit perfectly into the structure. A video call with a promising Chinese company. The language was clear, the margins were defined, the potential was significant. They wanted her to act as their exclusive Amazon sales representative in North America. It was a substantial opportunity, a logical next step in her career trajectory. The offer made perfect sense. It was stable, predictable, almost as if it were designed for someone exactly like her, someone who thrived on structure and measurable outcomes. Throughout the call, she listened intently, nodded at the right moments, and took meticulous notes. She was the consummate professional. The call ended. The digital faces vanished, leaving her alone with the silence of her apartment. The contract, a tidy PDF, sat unread in her inbox. A simple click was all it would take to open it, to accept, to lock in her future. But her hand didn't move toward the mouse. Instead, she found herself turning away from the screen, her gaze drifting toward the window. The city sprawled below, a grid of streets and buildings, each in its proper place. And in that moment of stillness, she realized how profoundly familiar this feeling was. Another critical decision. Another rigid structure, ready to absorb her life, to give it shape and direction. She had done this before, many times. Each time, she had chosen the logical path, the one that promised security and advancement. Each time, she had willingly stepped into a new framework, letting it define her days, her weeks, her years. But this time, something felt different. This time, the familiar comfort of a pre-planned future felt less like a comfort, and more like a cage. Her mind drifted away from the contract, back to a quiet afternoon that now seemed a world away. The gentle, almost musical sound of a coffee cup touching a saucer. She was in a hotel cafe, the light soft and forgiving. Mike sat across from her. He wasn't selling her anything. He wasn't proposing a strategy or outlining a 5-year plan. He was just listening. She remembered the way time itself seemed to slow down in his presence. There was no urgency, no pressure, no hidden agenda. It was just a conversation, open-ended and unhurried. A conversation without strategy. How long had it been since she had simply talked to someone without a goal in mind? Meanwhile, in China, Mike felt the ground shifting beneath his feet. It wasn't a dramatic earthquake, not a cruel twist of fate. It was a slow, steady, almost imperceptible change. The semester was ending. On campus, students gathered in small, energetic groups, their futures bright and full of possibilities. He walked past them quietly, an observer on the edge of their vibrant world. The teaching position he had hoped for, the one that would have anchored him here, remained uncertain. An email notification would ping on his phone and his heart would skip a beat, but it was never the news he was waiting for. No decision yet, no guarantee. In the past, this kind of ambiguity would have filled him with anxiety, a frantic need to control the outcome. But now, for the first time, Mike did not resist the uncertainty. He allowed it to exist. He breathed into it, finding a strange sort of peace in the not knowing. He was learning to let go. Lin Fang's thoughts returned to her time in China, to moments that had seemed insignificant then, but now held a surprising weight. She remembered a walk they took, the city glowing around them as dusk settled in. They walked side by side, a comfortable space between them, never touching. They walked without a destination, their steps falling into a natural rhythm. She remembered how neither of them tried to explain who they were, or what they wanted from life. There was no performance, no carefully constructed persona. There was nothing to prove. Nothing to win. It was just two people existing together for a short while. Back in her apartment, the present reasserted itself. The contract was still there, waiting. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She began to type a reply, the standard. Polite refusal. Thank you for the offer, but I must decline at this time. But her fingers stopped. That wasn't right. It was too final, too certain. She deleted the sentence. She started again, typing. I need more time to consider. It was a simple phrase, but for her it was revolutionary. Then she stopped again. She deleted the words and simply closed the email draft. She did not refuse the offer. She simply paused. For the first time in her adult life, she did not choose the safest path immediately. She gave herself permission to wait, to be unsure. Another memory surfaced, unbidden. A simple meal in a small, unassuming restaurant. Shared plates of food passed between them. Quiet laughter that felt easy and unforced. She remembered how utterly ordinary it felt. And in that memory, she understood how incredibly rare that kind of ordinariness had become in her carefully curated life. Every dinner was a networking opportunity, every conversation a transaction. With Mike it had just been dinner. Thousands of miles apart, they were both caught in a moment of reflection. In his small apartment, Mike packed a few books into a cardboard box, his movements slow and deliberate. In her sleek apartment, Lin Fang took a coat from her closet, the one she had worn on those cool evenings in China, and folded it carefully. They were not moving toward each other. Not yet. The distance was real, their futures unknown. But, for the first time, both of them had stopped moving away from themselves. They had stopped running toward the next goal, the next achievement, and had instead turned inward, toward the quiet, uncertain landscape of their own hearts. Night fell. In America, Lin Fang finally closed her laptop, leaving the contract unanswered. The screen went dark, and for a moment, she saw her own reflection staring back. In China, Mike stood by his window, looking out at the sprawling city lights. A vast constellation of other lives, other stories. Some encounters are brief. They arrive without warning and leave just as quickly. But they don't leave us unchanged. They rearrange the questions we ask ourselves. Not the big questions about love or success that we think should define us, but the smaller, quieter questions. The ones that ask what we truly value. The ones that ask how much of ourselves we are willing to leave behind in the relentless pursuit of who we are supposed to be. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending some of your valuable time with me. I really hope you found this helpful or at least a little bit entertaining. If you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel out more than you know. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our future content. I love hearing from you guys, so please drop a comment down below and let me know what you thought, or what you'd like to see next. Your feedback is everything. Thanks again for your incredible support. Stay awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.